This is Horacio Pagani's tale. How did he go from being turned down by high-end automakers like Lamborghini and Ferrari to becoming one of the wealthiest people in the automotive sector with $1 billion business? Let's get this motivational tale going. Horacio Pagani was born in a castle in a small town in Argentina on November 10, 1955, to parents Luca and Maria Pagani. Despite the fact that his father was a baker, Horacio began to imagine a better future for himself. As early as possible, he started carving car models out of wood when he was 9, which perplexed his parents. Images of racing cars that he saw in Italian automotive magazines served as his inspiration. His father allowed him to pursue his dreams because he was powerless to stop his son from loving cars. By the following year, Horacio and his friend Gustavo Marani had built an excessive number of bikes. They constructed a four-wheel vehicle just before they received their high school diplomas. The car was constructed by Horacio and Gustavo using a reinforced plastic body kit given to them by a Mar del Plata business. Horacio opened a small mechanic shop after receiving his degree in order to create and construct racing cars from the ground up. The French automobile company was drawn to his talent. Renault to improve the body of their racing vehicle, Renault hired Horacio. With his talent and flawless work, he won over the business. Working for this French company was Horacio's first significant step toward a prosperous career and gave him a glimpse of what his future craftsmanship would be like. It also made him aware of a significant issue that he hadn't been aware of prior to meeting Hilda. The town in Argentina where he lived was an agriculturally based town. And driving supercars on a farm was not an option. No one would drive or be able to afford supercars if he kept producing them. Horacio required a position where his abilities as a mechanic and supercar designer would be valued. He understood that moving to a nation that permitted racing was the only way he could realize his dream of building supercars. Since Horacio's father was originally from Italy, he was aware of the expansion of local automakers like Lamborghini. He began making preparations to relocate to Italy, which required careful planning because Horacio had recently wed Cristina Pagani, a 19-year-old, and moving meant he would need to have the necessary skills to support both himself and his wife. However, Horacio's only talent was building supercars. In 1982, Horacio traveled to Italy with his young wife after departing from Argentina. Even though Horacio didn't start out as a designer or a mechanic, he wanted to work for a company that made supercars in order to support his new life abroad. Since neither of them spoke Italian and they were poor, he and his wife Cristina began residing in a tent in a camp in Bologna. Lamborghini employed Horacio, but not as a supercar designer or mechanic. He began working for Lamborghini as a janitor. He was very committed to his job of sweeping the engineering department's floors. Horacio, the janitor, was always the first to the workshop and the last to leave. From watching the engineers, he picked up additional car building knowledge. Over time, his commitment to his job was recognized. A job as a supercar designer was made available to Horacio. Horacio accepted his new position as a supercar designer, moving him one step closer to his dream, and carried on moving up the Lamborghini engineering ladder. He had attained the position of chief engineer by the late 1980s and was one of the best engineers in the organization. As chief engineer, Horacio was tasked with creating a replacement vehicle for the Countach Lamborghini at the time. Horacio is extremely passionate about using carbon fiber and creating supercars, and he believed that the revolution should start with the way the contacts are made. In order to increase the production of the carbon components for the evolution, he urged Lamborghini to purchase an autoclave. Horacio initially predicted that carbon fiber would be used in all future supercars, but his prediction was ignored. Due to Ferruccio Lamborghini's conflict with Enzo Ferrari, the Lamborghini brand was established. Ferruccio wanted to produce better engines and automobiles than Enzo Ferrari. But he also wanted to maintain some similarities between his supercars and those of his rival. Horacio's plans were severely derailed by this, but instead of dwelling on the rejection, he made the decision that it was time to leave Lamborghini and investigate building supercars the way he wanted. However, Given the presence of firms like Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Bentley, it wasn't simple to leave one of the best luxury car manufacturers and launch your own. Horacio understood that he had to establish his name in the field first. He created and produced the Lamborghini Countach, one of Lamborghini's best models to date, in order to establish himself as a standalone company. Horacio was not content, despite his success with the Countach. Horacio entered a bank in 1987 and requested a loan to purchase an autoclave for making carbon fiber automobiles. He designed and produced a different model of the car, the Co-Evolution, during his remaining years at Lamborghini. This car was made of carbon fiber and aluminium by his new composite department. Impressive results came from the Co-Evolution. Horacio redesigned the Lamborghini in 1991. Horacio foresaw the widespread adoption of carbon fiber in supercars in the 1980s, and he was right. At this time, every supercar contains at least one carbon component. Horacio worked things out on his own to create his car models rather than giving up. Horacio continued to produce carbon fiber for supercars after he left Lamborghini in 1991, and started a consulting business called Modena Designs. Because of his standing with Lamborghini, he hoped to use funds from the company to finance the creation of his automobiles. Major brands like Ferrari, a division of Mercedes-Benz, Daimler Chrysler, and Aprilia were among the clients of Horacio. Horacio established Modena Design in 1992. Making supercars in Italy wasn't simple because the market was dominated by Lamborghini and Ferrari was a customer of Modena Designs. Horacio also understood that fewer people loved than hated his ideas, but he trusted his gut and pursued his goals. One of Modena's clients, Bugatti, suffered a serious bankruptcy in 1995, which had an impact on the financing of automobiles. Horacio served as Bugatti's engineering and design consultant in Modena. So, the quality of Modena's design services declined as a result of the bankruptcy. He had no one to turn to for financial assistance. But Horacio persisted in his course of action. It needed. Horacio spent 7 years building his first car, but he used them wisely. He devoted 18,000 hours of his spare time between 1992 and 1999 to researching other supercars in order to determine the precise specifications for the security, comfort, and weight of his ideal vehicle. Aside from the engine and gearbox, he created all 3,700 components of the car. Horacio created the Zonda, his first automobile, in 1999. The Geneva Motor Show served as the car's world premiere. Each vehicle was sold by Horacio for 470 million Italian liras, or roughly £250,000. Horacio received about 57 orders for his car after the Zonda made its debut. But because of his limited resources, he insisted on upfront deposits. In the beginning, the company only produced a few cars annually while they built up their workforce and expanded. Pagani declared in 2005 that it would triple its output within the following 3 years and enter the US market in 2007. Pagani was producing 17 automobiles annually and making more than £12 million. After the Zonda, Horacio continued producing carbon car components and creating new automobile designs, among them the Hawara, which he named after the wind god Wira Tata. He was given the moniker King of Carbon for his dedication to using carbon fiber in the construction of supercars. Because of its strength and lightness, carbon fiber has grown to be a key component in the creation of supercars, as he had predicted. In 2013, a Zonda Revolution V with 800 horsepower was unveiled at the business where he had previously worked, with a £2.2 million price tag. Later, he created the limited edition Zonda 760 Coupe, which Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton coveted. As the son of a baker and janitor, Horacio made virtually nothing before amassing an estimated net worth of $125 million on an annual salary of $20 million. What topics do you want us to discuss? After that, leave a comment below and watch more videos on our channel.